think last time I saw you were talking about your cat that stayed with the city.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and how way back and chill. You handle that's pretty cool.
Yeah. She's still awake. Awesome. She likes to climb on me. Not her cat, she's a sport catcher, so she likes to come. But this is what she does. She'll just sit in the shower.
Okay. Why the shower though? Is it cool?
She's a weird cat. I really don't know.
I have a real dog, so I'm not surprised.
I mean, she'll like lay in the middle of the hallway. My shower. My sink is a favorite.
Cats do like sinks.
Under my cabinet, like in my bath, like under my sink in my bath, they get I sit there. When I come home at night, she sits by my door. But they're just...
Hey, so force coming in, as soon as they, like, Waller says not start the live, so people can start.
Gotcha. Appreciate the input.
Yeah, they're pretty laid back.
In fact, they're here right now, so.
Okay, I'm firing everything, my mics and
I almost brought her into the new room. She was like right after she got out of that.
really?
I was close to it. I told Sharon, I was like, I'm bringing her in for a little bit. Like, all right. Hello.
We needed to cover this deal up. Put your flag right here.
I just told her. I mean, what?
Well, let's say we have two stations. We'll double.
Yeah.
I was live in the 4, right, actually, live 30 times. 12, live 5:30, 6:30.
Yeah.
Here, after the other package, I'll scratch because we got this going on.
Where were you guys at?
Goodwill headquarters,
Oh, yeah.
the top of the roof on the fire.
Yeah.
We were there. They were working on the fire. And then embers. I was looking, firefighters was like, flames. We're in hot flames on top of the building. I'm like, oh.
Central Arkansas, across the entire state. First and foremost, we want to take this time to share our appreciation to the men and women of Little Rock Fire Department, who's been working around the clock since the fire started to contain them and make certain that there is no loss of life. We're grateful for the work that they've done. It's truly been a true team effort between the Little Rock Fire Department as well as the Little Rock Police Department and all the other associated representatives and team members of the city of Little Rock, all first responders. We're grateful to have today Chief Delphon Hubbard of the Little Rock Fire Department, Chief Heath Helton of the Little Rock Police Department. We also have both Matt Burks and Nathan Spicer of our Little Rock Emergency Department. We're here today at the Emergency Operations Center. Anytime that there is an emergency, we set this position up to make certain that we are on all cylinders and collaborating, communicating, and having a cohesive unit during times of need. And so we're grateful to do that. We all are aware that Pulaski County has an active burn ban at this point in time. We want to make certain the residents know while the men and women of Little Rock Fire Department, Police Department have this under control as best as possible, we do have an active burn ban. So please do not utilize any type of materials that would cause a fire for it to extend upon where it is. We also want to share, don't utilize outside grills. This is not the time to be flicking a cigarette or anything of that nature onto ground because it easily could create additional fires. Right now, we believe there are around 7. Chief Hubbard will discuss that in more detail. But our message today is, while we have a burn ban, please adhere to it. Please do not do anything reckless or careless because it could create a loss of life. We're glad there is no loss of life at this time because of the due diligence and the great teamwork of the Little Rock Fire Department and the Little Rock Police Department. We'll now have additional comments and detail from Chief Hubbard, but also want to share that we are been in constant communication with Energy Arkansas. We are paying attention to the high winds and how that could impact electricity. Chief Hubbard.
Good evening. I'm Delphon Hubbard. I have the honor of serving as the fire chief here for the City of Little Rock Fire Department. I want to give you a brief update on the activities that have occurred today as it relates to fires in this community. We received our first call regarding a fire in a grass area around 1:18 p.m. today. Since that time up until this hour, we've responded to over 14 calls related to residential and commercial fires where the fire has burned the greenery part of the community, and it impacted 10 residential homes and 4 businesses. There was no loss of life, whether it be civilians or our fire personnel. The 4 businesses that were impacted was the Goodwill on Scott Hamilton, 10 Box on Gyre Spring, Walmart at the intersection of Bowman and Chenal, and then we had the Rebsamen Tennis Court that was impacted by this fire. We were able to eliminate any possible damage to the properties where we were able to stop the fire from even reaching these properties. However, as it relates to the residential properties, there was some loss of property, but there was no loss of life. As the mayor spoke earlier, there was a burn ban issued at the beginning of this day. It was also a red flag warning. That's called fire weather. That's where we have conditions where the winds are so high that they're gusty and shifty, and then you have dry conditions as far as the ground. So that creates a great opportunity for fire. And so we were able to address each of these without anyone being injured, no civilians being injured again, I say. So we consider it a success. However, we are still responding to calls related to these type of things. So we'll know as we continue to assess this situation in the coming days.
We'll now have Chief Helton, who will talk about how the Little Rock Police Department has been aiding the Little Rock Fire Department, truly showing the great teamwork here at the City of Little Rock.
Yeah, good evening. Heath Helton here, Chief of Little Rock Police Department. I want to first give a shout out to the men and women of Little Rock Fire Department, the men and women of Little Rock Police Department, as well as the city's emergency management team. It's unfortunate when you have days like this that you really get to see how effective we truly are as a team. You hate that these days happen when they do. I can promise you these men and women and the entities within the city of Little Rock really come together and do great work. Roughly about 1:20 p.m. today, the Little Rock Police Department got the call to respond to assist the Little Rock Fire Department with a fire in the southwest area. Once we got there, we saw that things were kicking up pretty good with the winds and the things that had started really amping up this afternoon. At that point, we started mobilizing a number of uniformed personnel to respond to assist with traffic control mainly, to allow the fire department to run their hoses across the roadway and allow them to safely and effectively get these fires under control. As they continue to spread over a vast amount of areas, we continue to deploy a variety of resources while continue to answer calls for service, and we effectively were able to assist Lacey Elementary in getting schools, the children released early, making sure their families got in there to get them evacuated out of the school. At no time was the school in danger, but however, we want to take precautionary measures to make sure those children were safe as long as the staff, and then maintain a presence down there until parents could get with their loved ones. As that developed, you heard Chief Hubbard mention that several fires was kind of propped up around the city. We pulled all resources together, held some units over to make sure that we still answered calls, and then made sure we had staffing to secure a variety of locations. As this moves forward throughout the night, we still anticipate high winds to cause tree limbs to come down. When you see limbs come down, unfortunately, power lines will unfortunately separate from their poles. Once those calls come in, personnel will go, we will check those out, and if there's anything that we discover that the fire department needs to respond, or energy, we will make sure we notify the proper ones, resources to make sure they respond. I do caution our community to be mindful of when officers are directing traffic. I know it can cause a little bit of headache and frustration, but please pay attention. There's reasons why we are trying to control that traffic. We don't want to run over the hoses that could cause injury to our firefighters, and it's to route for your safety and the safety of our community. Also, do not drive over power lines. If power lines are down, please avoid those at all costs, and just let us know where they're at and make that notification. So with that, I'll turn it back over to the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Heldon. Again, I want to share appreciation to the Officer of Urban Emergency Management, who's here with us today with Nathan Spicer and Matt Birch. The goal, again, is to make certain that our residents know what's going on real time to provide this update. Again, we do have an active burn ban. Please do not do anything that will cause a fire. We do know there are act of God moments that will create it, but our men and women of Little Rock Fire Department, Police Department are doing their best, and we're grateful for them that there's been no loss of life, no injury, and they've been demonstrating the great collaboration and teamwork to get the job done of protecting the public health, safety, and welfare of the residents and the workforce here in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas's capital city. We'll now open the floor for any questions.
I have a question specifically for the fire department. I know it was stated earlier today that due to the fires being so spread across our city, that it was difficult getting engines to those locations and having enough water at the locations to distinguish the fire. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. At no time were we concerned about our resources as far as the availability of apparatuses, nor was there ever an issue with the pressure of the water supplies that we required to extinguish those fires. We did, as a means of caution, notify and ask for assistance from North of Little Rock and some of our neighboring departments to just be on standby in case we needed those additional resources. But at no time did we ever had issue with responding to any emergencies in addition to being able to respond to that emergency on those fires.
I have a quick question. So 7 different fires started. Can you kind of go into detail? Are they under investigation now with the fire marshals, or do you have any thought of like what caused those fires?
I would say that of those 10 residential, well, of the 14, let's talk about the entire 14, we do know that 3 of them was caused by just act of nature. High winds, knocking over tree limbs, which knocked down power lines, which ignited the dry surfaces, and it kind of spread it from there on 3 of those occasions. The others are, and that's still under investigation to be conclusive in the investigation. And then with the others, they're still under investigation with our fire marshals.
For where the homes were, can you give any sort of idea as to where the areas of the homes that were affected?
The area that was impacted the most was in Southwest. There was a street, I want to call the name of it Shavar. Chaucer. Where there were 4 homes that was heavily damaged due to the fire and the spread of it.
2 questions. First one is, do you know how many structures total have been affected throughout the day? I know we were just out by Chaucer and saw those 4 homes that were pretty heavily damaged, but do you have an idea of how many structures in general across the city?
Across the city, there was 10, but of those 10, only 4 were damaged.
Okay.
The others, when I mentioned about the other 6, they were where the fire kind of spread it onto their property from the green space that was in the rear of the home. So it got kind of onto their property, may have damaged like a storage in the backyard on 1 or 2 of them. But other than that, there was no damage to the actual primary residence.
And then, second question is, we did see a firefighter that was taken into an ambulance earlier today. Is there any others that have been hurt or injured when it comes to any firefighters?
On that particular case, I think there was an issue of dehydration. It was just for evaluation, medical evaluation.
And everyone else is?
We don't want to minimize it, but it was a medical evaluation. But there were no other reported injuries of firefighters.
Any more questions? Thank you, everyone.